Hello. In this video, I'm talking about absolute value word problems. So, this first example is pretty straightforward and pretty intuitive, but it does have an absolute value quality to it. So, if you want to decorate your friend's locker for her birthday, but you do not know her locker number, you know your own locker is number 8, and you find out your friend's locker is 4 lockers away. Assuming that the lockers are numbered in sequential order, determine your friend's possible locker number. Then write the equation that represents the situation. Now, if your locker is at 8 and you move 4 away, there's 2 directions you could go in. You could go to the left or you could go to the right. If you went to the left, their locker would be at 4, and if you went to the right, their locker would be at 12. That's the answer. It's 4 and 12, because that's how far away your friend's locker would need to be. Now, those are the possible answers. We don't know which one because it doesn't give us enough information. But it has to be one of the two because of the information that they give us. Now, if I were to draw this on a graph, I would probably put 8 in the middle. Right, so we're starting at 8. That's our center. And we move 4 to the left, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 12. All right, so this distance here is 4, and so is this distance. That's how I would look at the situation. Now, if I were to write the equation for the situation in the top right-hand corner, you can see that the equation for the absolute value function would be the absolute value of x minus the center equals the distance. So in this case, we would have the absolute value of x minus our center, which was 8, equals the distance. And when I'm talking about the distance, I'm talking about that 4 that's at the top. That's the distance between the center and any of our 2 answers. So it's just 4. And that's it. If I asked you to solve an equation by graphing, I would ask you to do something very similar. But we're going backwards. So instead of me giving you a situation, you have an equation and you're trying to solve it, but you're trying to solve it without using the methods that we learned in class. So if it's x plus 2, the equation is x minus the center, which means that just like always, inside we do the inverse. So instead of it being positive 2, it's going to be negative 2 in our center. So this would be negative 2, and we would move 5 in both directions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would get us to negative 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would get us to 3. So this distance is 5, and this distance is 5. And that's how you would solve by graphing. Your 2 answers would be negative 7 and 3. And you'd put points there because those are the solutions. One more. What if I told you that I'm giving you the actual solutions and you have to come up with the equation and a graph to represent the situation? Well, this is what's happening in example 3. This is the only alternative question that I could possibly ask you. So in a cheerleading competition, the minimum length of a routine is 4 minutes. The maximum length of a routine is 5 minutes. Graph the solutions. Then write an absolute value equation that represents the minimum and maximum lengths. So yes, we're starting with the answer. So I could start over here and say that's 4, and go over here and say that's 5. Right, those are my solutions. Those are the points that are the answers. Now, in order to write so we graph the solutions, that's all. In order to write an absolute value equation that represents the maximum and minimum lengths, we would need the absolute value of x minus the center. Well, do we have the center? No, we have the endpoints. So we need to find the center between 4 and 5. Well, the center between 4 and 5 would be 4.5. So that's 4.5. And you can have a decimal. So it'd be x minus 4.5 in the absolute value equal to the distance. Now don't forget, the distance that I'm talking about is not the distance between 4 and 5. It's the distance between the center and the edge. Well, the distance between the center and the edge is 0.5. Both ways. So the answer is the absolute value of x minus 4.5 equals 0.5. And that's it. Have a great day.